Good afternoon, everyone. It is May 6th, 2018, and I'm Eric. How are you doing? I hope you're doing well. Alright, so you can see where this is headed already by what's on your screen. Alright? In this video, I'm going to just attempt, to show a trend, it seems, maybe an appropriate word, trend, or maybe habit, or a deception. You decide what the proper word should be, but there seems to be a serious correlation between Benjamin Netanyahu accusing a nation of having weapons of mass destruction and bad shit happening. Let me show you an example here.
The policy with the United States. Because you see, what is threatened by Iraq is not just Israel. Everybody is threatened by Iraq. If Saddam Hussein maintains, if he devours that prey and keeps it, he will go after other prey. If he gets out of Kuwait but remains with his war machine intact, who can say that tomorrow or a year or two from now he won't turn on some other target? It may not be Israel, it may be somebody else in the region. It could be Turkey, it could be Saudi Arabia again, it could be anyone. So the question is really, how do we neutralize the threat posed by this vast war machine that Iraq has in the wake of the Gulf crisis?
Are you denying that?
Okay, so you just heard him. Notice how he mentioned only United States allies and countries that could be affected by Saddam Hussein having nuclear weapons. Alright, so that was in 1990. And I'm sure if I tried, I would find something between 2002 and 1990, but I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go ahead and go with what's right here in front of me. This one comes from 2002.
There is no question whatsoever that Saddam is seeking and is working and is advancing towards the development of nuclear weapons. No question whatsoever. And there is no question that once he acquires it, history shifts immediately. The dangers posed by a nuclear-armed Saddam were understood by my country 2 decades ago, well before September 11th. In 1981, the late Prime Minister of Israel, Menachem Begin, dispatched...
So, you know, in this speech, you can tell that he's putting Saddam Hussein in the same conversation as 9/11, implying that Saddam Hussein had something to do with 9/11, and which is false. We all know that Iraq had nothing at all whatsoever to do with 9/11. Now, how many soldiers have we lost over there in Iraq? How many civilians and children have been killed? How many have been born with birth defects and so on? Because you see where I'm going here. Every time this dude accuses another country of doing something, the United States seems to be on its puppet strings doing its bidding for them. And now, of course, we hear the same story. And by the way, Iraq had no weapons of mass destruction. They're still there, and still have found no evidence whatsoever of Saddam Hussein stockpiling nuclear weapons, developing nuclear weapons, or any such thing. So, what are the... And by the way, Benjamin Netanyahu, he's been talking about how dangerous Iran is for many, many, many years. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying Benjamin Netanyahu is not highly intelligent and articulate, far more so than myself. But the fact is that he's a motherfucking liar, and that is something I'm not. It's a matter of policy for Zionists to lie to the public. It's one of their key tactics, lying. And the thing is Christians, they seem to have this love affair with Israel because for some reason they got it in their heads that these people are God's chosen people. You notice the difference between the gods from the Old Testament to the New Testament? It's like two totally different people or things, isn't it? One God hated everyone but the Israelites, the Jews, and had serious favoritism for the Jews. Then you go to the New Testament, that theme is no longer there. Why? Why? Why are Christians so in love with Israel? Why? It is this sycophantic behavior that allows for these people to continue to lie and convince the public at large that we're about to be fucking incinerated by some other nation's nukes, and if we don't fucking go steal their oil, we're going to be vaporized. That's what it boils down to. Same thing in Syria. And Donald Trump isn't going to remove the troops from Syria because our fucking oil companies haven't been able to secure those oil fields there. Or our military have not been able to secure these things. They're not going to leave fucking Syria until those fucking oil fields are secured. That's what Iraq was all about. That's why a fucking busload of Halliburton employees, along with a National Guard soldier, they were killed on the way to one of these oil fields so that Halliburton could help. This dude is a liar. Iraq didn't have nuclear weapons, and by the way, even if they did, how is it our business? Why should we give a fuck what Iran has? And see, these people don't do anything without there being multiple objectives that can be accomplished. Now, Israel, the Greater Israel Project, demands that a whole bunch of fucking land gets stolen from a few of these Arab countries. Syria is one of those countries. So I see two objectives. The balkanization of Syria to benefit Israel, and our oil companies having the ability to profit from the oil fields there in Libya as they did from the Iraqi oil fields, and the same thing with the Iranian oil fields. That's what a lot of this is about. There's other reasons too. And I know it probably sounds fucking insane, but there are ancient artifacts that are said to be somewhere in that area. And these artifacts are weapons. They're said to be somewhere in that area, and they're supposedly the weapons that the Anunnaki gods, that's what the Sumerians called them, not me. I'm not calling the motherfuckers gods. That's what they called them. Hid in some cave system back hundreds of thousands of years ago. One such weapon was detonated in that area during ancient times. And it describes how the plume, how the wind brought death. Now, there's a video of Donald Trump saying exactly what I just told you. And I'm going to pause it for a moment. Try to find that fucking interview with Bill O'Reilly before he was elected. Okay, here we are. I might have been wrong with who he was being... Yeah, it was Bill O'Reilly. Okay.
Or better at the military than I am.
Are you telling me you're going to send American ground troops into Syria?
I'm not telling you anything. And the reason I'm not is because if I run and I win, I don't want them to know the game.
American ground troops in to chase them around?
Take back the oil. Once you go over and take back that oil, they have nothing.
But how do you take it
know,
back?
right? You have to go in. You have to go in.
With ground troops?
Well, you bomb the hell out of them, and then you encircle it, and then you go in, and you let Mobil go in, and you let our great oil companies go in.
No.
Once you take that oil, they have nothing left.
Do you understand?
I think that probably sums it up pretty fucking nicely, don't you? I mean, don't you think? And by the way, thank you to Blackstone Intelligence Network for having that clip handy for me. I really appreciate it. I mean, I can go through this video here and show you instances where Netanyahu presents the most absurd shit as evidence. Here's a good one. Here's one that should make you laugh a little bit.
Brought a diagram for you.
A diagram.
Here's a diagram. This is a bomb. This is a fuse. In the case of Iran's nuclear plans to build a bomb, this bomb has to be filled with enough enriched uranium. And Iran has to go through 3 stages. Where's Iran? Iran's completed the first stage. Now they're well into the second stage. And by next spring, at most, by next summer, at current enrichment rates.
Okay, so this is the speech he gave prior to the speech that I just talked about, last week? And it's the same thing, over and over again. And look, I can understand if the shit worked one time, okay? I can totally understand that. You want to believe the sincerity of your leaders, blah, blah, blah. But the fact of the matter is, after they lie so many times, I mean, we can look at the result from Iraq to know that they're lying. They lied throughout the whole thing, and then George Bush fucking makes a joke about it in one of his speeches. What was it? No WMDs there, and the sycophants there in the crowd laughed at that, as if us going to war based on a fucking lie was a good thing. Colin Powell lied through his fucking teeth. Netanyahu. All of them. All of them. And for what? To secure oil fields? And for what? For what? Profit? I don't know. All I know is my fucking gas prices are much higher now than they were 2 years ago. Much higher. And that kind of pisses me off. That kind of makes it hard for me to live. That kind of makes it hard for my family as a whole. As I said before, that tax cut, if anyone had any positive effect from it, it's probably being offset by the rise in gas prices. All of this to help them achieve their project for, or was it? No, the Greater Israel Project. I was going to say Project for a New American Century, but they too are linked to all of this. Saudi Arabia linked to all of this. It wasn't Iraq that had anything to do with 9/11 or even Al-Qaeda. It was Israel, Saudi Arabia, and the neocons. Period. And if you believe the fucking lies that these people continue to tell you to this day, and it's not the only thing they lie about by any stretch of the imagination. They lie and lie and lie about everything. If you believe them, whether they're talking about domestic policy or foreign policy, you fucking deserve whatever hell is unleashed on us as a result of your support of these policies. I certainly don't fucking support it in any way. You go to war when your freedom and liberty are at stake, when your lives are at stake, and for no other fucking reason. Not for oil, not for any reason except for those two things. And you should be just as fucking pissed off about it as I am. As many other people are. I'm not the only one. Look at Ken O'Keefe. Look at the person who made the video I'm using for Netanyahu here and Donald Trump. There's many, many people telling you this shit, and you should pay attention. And if you don't, it's at your own peril, and you deserve whatever that peril ends up being. Till next time, kill the state before the state kills you.